Thank you guys. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Eric Balt. I'm the technical sales manager at Tekmar Controls here in sunny. No, it's not sunny anymore. Vernon, British Columbia, Canada. I've been with Tekmar for about 2 years now, 2.5 years. We sell the Tekmar products through North America through the rep agencies, and I'll show you that in just a few minutes. Previous experience has been with building automation systems for many years. I did a lot of BAS system as a technical level and a lot of training. So I saw a lot of people along the way, and I was overseas over in Australia and New Zealand for a time period as well. What we're going to talk about today is the Tekmar and where Tekmar is today. Tekmar started back in the 80s, I believe. Yeah, it was 80s. I worked with Tekmar Controls back in the 90s, so it's like coming back to a familiar company. There has been some changes. I'm going to show a slide deck. I'll share my screen here. Just give me a sec. We'll find the right screen, which is this one here. And let us see if we can go into presentation mode with that screen for us, just for our audience. Okay, let's go there.
Here we go.
Okay, we got it. Okay,
it's just starting to share now. There you go.
Good. Is it in presentation mode or is it just in the standard slide deck mode?
It's in the slide deck mode, so you need to
try presentation, see if that works for us.
Yeah.
Okay, slide deck. Let's go there. Let's go that one.
No.
Okay, there we go. All right. Is it showing up now?
There you go. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we're based out of Vernon, British Columbia, Canada. So in interior British Columbia, of course, we have our ski resorts in the wintertime. We have Big White, which is just about maybe 15 kilometers up the mountain from Tekmar. So snow melting is part of our scheme of things there. And also down here in Kelowna is Big White. And then over in Kamloops, there's Sun Peak. So we've got the ski resorts there. In the summer, of course, we have the lakes, Okanagan Lake, Kalmalka Lake, and some other lakes around the area. Basically, Tekmar has our facility at up the road from the city core per se, 60,000 square feet. We're about 88 people, and we started back in 1984. It was a family started event. There was the Canoevers from Germany and Don Gibbs from UBC, I think, married the daughter, and that's where the roots of the company started. So some of the technology was transferred initially from Germany, but over time we've been basically on our own. In 2012, Watts bought Tekmar Controls, so we're actually now owned by Watts, and you will see over time that basically Tekmar has done 2 or 3 different things besides the Tekmar products we all know out in the marketplace. So core competencies are basically in the hydronic world. We do a lot of hydronic systems, multi-stage boiler systems, snow melting systems, thermostats and zoning systems, and we build a lot of OEM product for OEM boiler manufacturers and other companies out there. And we do custom designs. We will do OEM, and we will do something else called, we just started doing the last while, ICO, intercompany. So basically with intercompany, we're actually building products for other brands within the Watts organization. And these are some of the companies you may or may not recognize the logos, but Airco Boilers, PVI Hot Water, Ames Fire and Water Works, SunTouch, the electric radiant floor systems, Mueller Steam stuff, or Orion, HF Scientific, a lot of stuff for the ballast water treatment on ships. So there was a fair few law changes the last little while. So all the water treatment for ballast has to be treated before it's dumped now into the ocean when they go from, those ships go from one location to the other. So there's quite a broad grouping of different brands within the Watts organization, as you can see here. You know, with us being, you know, Tekmar being on hydronics, Dormont up there is actually the gas people. So they build a lot of gas parts and pieces for restaurant applications and other applications like that. Just showing some of the buildings we're in. So, I mean, we're around the world, whether it be in Dubai or Finland or Russia or in Washington, DC. You can see different install sites of where Watts products have been installed. I think Watts is a fairly large organization. We are a fairly large organization right across North America and in Europe and in Asia as well. For you, locally within the Alberta marketplace, you, the customer, the building operator, we have plumbing, heating, and HVAC contractors that we do a lot of training with. We basically have classes with them, whether it's face-to-face class or webinar classes, and we actually go through our products and show them how to install them properly, how to configure them properly. So when they go into the field, they basically get work set up properly for us to be, for you guys to use in the marketplace. The plumbing, heating, and HVAC contractors are buying their products through the plumbing and heating wholesalers, which typically the set over here, the Frontier and the Bartle and Emco and Refrigeration Supply is only some examples of some of the plumbing and heating wholesalers in the Alberta marketplace. Rep agency. So within Alberta, our rep that represents Tekmar is DCS agency out of both Edmonton and Calgary. So both locations have staff, resources, and support people and order taking, all the rest for the rep agency. We are buy-sell to the rep agency, so the reps are basically selling the products off to the wholesalers, then through the distribution chain. And on our website, on our Watts website, Tekmar website, you can find all the distribution channel of our markets. What we'd like to do down the road is we'd like to identify the plumbing and heating contractors and the HVAC contractors that have done training and put them up on our website as well. We want to empower them so that people know who to phone if they want some product of Tekmar installed, service, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of the marketplace for us there. People, it's about people. It's about people making it happen at a local level. Greg Lupin, he's the general manager at HVAC Controls. We're about, like I said, 88 people. We have life cycle engineering. So we look at our products and improvements of products over time, order fulfillment with Marisa. At a technical sales level, I deal a lot with the reps on technical issues, distribution, et cetera, et cetera. We are bringing a new person on board. Mike Bro is going to be our technical trainer. So we're going to be focused on a lot more training in the marketplace, both face-to-face e-learning modules. We have e-learning modules. I'll talk about those in a bit. There's a whole e-learning training session component within the Watts for Tekmar. Customer service, Laurie Metzger, Clever is our application engineer. And then on the right-hand side, we have Alan, Keith, Edward, Tom, Mike, and Darren. And these people are our technical support. So whenever a customer, whether it be a operator like you, or a homeowner, or a rep, or a wholesaler, they can phone Tekmar, or you can phone Tekmar at any time, and we are there to help support you with your products. We don't leave you hanging with the products. We really focus on that. We believe there's value to that. Even to this day, I know a lot of people would rather not do that because there's a cost associated, but we feel it's an important part of our business. So we really support at a level locally, and also the reps also support at a local level as far as the product and supporting the products in the field. So at any time, if there was an issue with a product and we need to bring somebody to the site, we can actually have our rep go to site and review what's going on with the plumbing and heating contractor, the HVAC contractor that's involved with the site as well. In the grouping of products, Tekmar since '86, we started sort of in mixing controls for hot water heating. We did boiler staging controls. We did the outdoor reset. We were one of the first companies in North America to start putting outdoor reset. Now all boilers have outdoor reset. But the grouping of the products, we have classic. So basic classic products means that something has to ask for heat. Something has to ask for a mixing call or a set point. So we call those controls classic, and they've been in our marketplace for some time. We also do mid-level residential. So with mid-level residential, those typical homes that are maybe up to 3,000 square feet or 3,300 square feet, Wi-Fi thermostats with zoning included on those units, and app connected through your smartphone if they so choose to go that route. We also do a lot of high-end residential, which is basically our proprietary Tekmar Net communication network. So we connect all our controls together that way and make them intercommunicate with each other, giving us a much more integrated solution set. And with the high-end residential homes, we tend to see those systems integrated into home automation systems that are out in the marketplace. Whether it be a Crestron or whatever that may be out there in the marketplace, that's where we tend to see the high-end residential go. But what we're going to talk a bit today is we're going to talk about the light commercial and the commercial marketplace. And in our mindset, light commercial basically is systems where you're not talking about a BAS system in your building, no BAS. You've got some controls in there. You need to control a boiler, you need some pumps, you may have whatever in there, but you do not have a BAS system in there. When you do go into commercial, the BAS building automation system, atypically, a BACnet system or Modbus with multiple different vendors and the controls contractor involved with that. So that's kind of where we're delineating between a light commercial and a commercial. And a light commercial could be a multi-tenant building, for example. So maybe a multi-tenant building has, 3 or 4 boilers in there for heating and domestic hot water. So basically that fits into that realm under light commercial. In our website, what we've done, and we'll take a look in a few minutes on our website, we've broken them down into the groupings of the different products of boiler mixing controls, multi-staging controls. I know a lot of manufacturers are actually, they're bringing out the boiler manufacturers are bringing out their multi-staging controls, but we are working on a solution set where you've got an installation where you have different manufacturers of boilers, and we actually want to give you a better solution set there with reporting and a bunch of information that you need moving forward into the environment we're working into now. Zoning controls, going back into that residential where you got zone pumps and zone valves, you got a thermostat and you're controlling those accordingly on hydronic systems. The other one we have is the thermostats. We do have about 9, 10, 12 different thermostats out there. Some of them are Wi-Fi, some of them are communicating, some of them are standalone depending on the application. We do have thermostats that can do integrated air cooling zones, so we can get into that environment. But the biggest push of the last while, of course, is connectivity to the cloud. So we've built a bunch of thermostats that connect to the cloud. They go to an app called Watts Home app. And when you connect up to the Watts Home app, you can connect all your Watts products to that app. So you don't need 4, 5, 8, 10 apps. You have one app. And whether it be basically a tekmar thermostat or a Sunstat thermostat or some other piece of like a IntelliStation mixing control, a digital mixing control, we now have the ability to integrate those into one app. For the commercial products, we actually have a commercial app on the other side. So we do delineate between those. One of the biggest areas that we do have a lot of coverage in the marketplace is snow melting systems. And snow melting systems it's an interesting area to be because a lot of people initially say, big waste of energy. But when you start doing the math, adding together the cost of pushing the snow, carrying the snow away, the salt and the sand, and the removal of the salt and the sand and the salt and the sand in the spring, and the damage on your actual environment, on your driveways, on your rampways, and all the rest, it does cause cost, right? So we've got some studies done on that. We got commercial snow melting systems out there that are like, ASHRAE standard 1, I believe they call it, where there's no snow, or ASHRAE standard 0, where there can be some snow. So there's different classification for snow melting systems, and we're looking really at growing the commercial marketplace for snow melting. We believe, and we're getting the feedback from the marketplace where car ramps, areas around stairwells, where you got to be there at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning to shove it off if people are coming at 7 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. to be safe, right? So there is a real need for that in the marketplace. Set point controls, typically, temperature control of whatever the application may be, maybe a hot tub or maybe just a pool you're trying to control. We have set point applications, or it could be, anything with a set temperature, like a domestic hot water could be a set point control as well. Solar systems. Let's talk about solar. Solar comes in 2 sort of flavors, the water version of the solars and the electric PVs. We're talking about water. So we have some controls in the water world for solar. We don't do electric PVs. The big push nowadays, probably not so much in Alberta, but in some other parts of the world, heat pumps, trying to reduce CO2 footprint. So we're seeing quite a move in the marketplace for heat pumps. And what's interesting, in the New England area, we got dual stage systems, which is kind of nice. So basically, your first stage is heat pump, and second stage could be a hot water boiler, for example, or another heat source. So we're doing dual stage, dual heat with a point of transition from energy costs are concerned when you move from one heat source to the other. So we can do that in heat pump applications, which is good. And then the last group, of course, is accessories, the mixing valves, the actuators, things that you would use in your hydronic applications. Now, what I wanted to do was just show you guys just a very simple 3, 4, 5, 6 slides on applications on building up a system. So in this slide here, what we have basically is two pumps, and they're sequencing pumps. So one runs and the other one sits idle. So we have a pump sequencer that can rotate the pump based on runtime and usage, and we basically monitor the flow of the pumps. So here we are, we're operating these pumps based on some demand, and we're making sure that we have equal runtime on the pumps, as an example. So basically, we've got a standby pump in parallel, or another way you can run, of course, is you just leave the one pump running all the time. The standby pump only gets turned over every now and then to keep your bearings good, right, and your seals good. So different strategy there. From there, you run your pumps and away you go. So this is a very straightforward. This is not tied into any BAS system, no building automation system. It's just straight. Here's a pump sequencer. We've got it in our building, and we're running our pumps with this 132 controller. From there, this takes us to a much larger system here. I put a bunch of pieces together here, okay? So what I put together here is I put together 2 boilers. So we've got 2 boilers there with P3 and P4. We've got a boiler loop into a primary loop, and we've got dual pumps on the domestic hot water there, P5 and P6. And we have dual pumps on the heating system loop going out to the heating loops, okay? So the 132 does the one set of pumps for the domestic, the second 132 does the second set of pumps for the heating, and the 284 does the boilers control for us as far as temperature modulation, changing temperature based on whether it's a heating call or if it's domestic hot water call. Domestic hot water call, of course, we want to ramp those temperatures up. And then once the call is finished for domestic hot water, bring them back down to the needs of the heating zone. What you'll notice here is we have thermostats in the space, which is good. We also have something called a 486. It's a gateway device. Technology nowadays, a lot of stuff is basically online, just as we're doing right now with this webinar, this Zoom webinar. We're showing this stuff online to you. So the 486 gateway gives you access to the data of what's going on in your system. Now, remember, this is not a BAS system. This is what we consider our light commercial installation. So we're going to show you some things about the 486 and what it's going to give you for information in a minute. Now, snow melting. I'm going to show you some things about snow melting. So here we have a scenario where you got your heat source on the left. We didn't indicate what type of heat source it is. It could be a boiler system. It could be district heating. It could be a steam system. Whatever that heat source is, it's coming in on the left. We go through a heat exchanger here. This is the HX. That's our heat exchanger. And the reason we're using a heat exchanger is twofold. First of all, everything to the right of the heat exchanger is the glycol system for your snow melting. And second item is the heat exchanger can limit the amount of energy being put out into the slab. So I'm a fan for heat exchangers on snow melting systems because of those 2 facts. How we're going to actually measure what's going on with the snow melting system is put some sensors in the slab. So we're going to have a slab sensor, or we could have an aerial sensor with just a small slab sensor here. Now, the S1 slab sensor we're showing here basically is an intelligent slab sensor called the Snowmelt Ice Sensor 090. And with that, we can determine when to turn it on, what temperature to run your slab to, and when to turn it off. It's easy to turn stuff on. It's hard to turn stuff off at the right time, right? Because you don't want to turn it off too early. If you turn it off too early, you'll have a skating rink. And if you turn it off too late, you basically will waste energy. And we don't want to waste the energy. We want to make sure the energy is well spent doing what it needs to do, and that's the melt snow that's on the slab. Now, there has been a lot of push in the marketplace from many different avenues, from consultants, from building owners, from architects, generals. Basically, but they want the information to what's going on. So this is the gateway into that, the 486. There's an example of a demo site. So if you got your smartphone there and you wanted to scan that code there, that that's up there for you. Basically, you can actually scan that, and there's a demo site available for you to take a look at on our 486. You can actually go online, whether you use a phone, smartphone, or a browser. It will get you different results. I'm going to take you through some slides of what these results look like. So you can be sitting at your desk and you can have multiple buildings located wherever you locate them. Here we got one at Silver Star in Vernon, and the head office down in North Andover, which happens to be in Massachusetts there, and a building map. So let's see, if I had 10 maps in Alberta, I could, or sorry, 10 buildings in Alberta, I could have a map of Alberta and showing the locations, whether they're online and whether they're working properly. Now, notice on the left-hand side, I'm showing you the browser screen, and the right-hand side, I'm showing you the app screen. So there's different functionality based on which way you're looking at the actual site itself and the system. Some of the things you can do now, this application I'm showing here is very much residential, but we can kick that over to a very light commercial application. So we've got multiple spaces in here, and in the spaces we're actually showing you the temperatures of the floor plan. So we have a floor plan that you can put into it, and you can bring basically the temperatures of each space up, which is good. You can quickly look at the floors, what's going on. The temperatures look decent. If they're out of range, orange, cool for blue, and off goes gray. So you can see the mode of operation based on a quick look on the screen from that perspective. And we give you a list. Some people just like a list view. Give me a list of all the temperatures, what mode they're in, and where we're at. Okay. So here we've got a tile list. The outdoor temperature is 61 degrees, must be made in America. Should kick them all over to Celsius. The hallway is 76, kitchen 78, master bedroom 77, and the master bathroom heat, which is probably could be electric heat, is sitting at 79 degrees, but it is in the off mode at this time. So you can quickly take a look at temperatures on a floor by floor basis as well, or by thermostat basis. Adjusting the temperatures, you can adjust the temperatures, your heat cool and your heat to and cool to set points. And you also have the ability to adjust your schedules, your 7-day schedule, your on off events, heat cool, floor, fan. So you have the ability to do those things both in the app and also on the browser. So you can see both sides, quite similar that way. And graphing, we do give you graphing, which is great. So if you want to take a look at a space, you've had some complaints about the space, we actually record the data, and you can go in there and look at the graph, and you can export the data that's available to you on the graph, and it will export to Excel spreadsheet, so you can quickly turn that into data you can work with if you need to take it to a further level. So we're giving you the graphing capability into the 486 as well. Here's the hydronic side of it. So what I was showing you earlier was the thermostat and the zones and that component of it. Here's the mechanical side of it. So here we've got a mechanical system. We've got a boiler. We've got a domestic hot water tempering valve in there. And we got a heating loop basically. And these screens give you the actual operating temperatures in the green, the orange, and the blue. So 170, 126, whether the pump is on or off, what position the valve is at, et cetera, et cetera. And you can also see the temperatures. The mixed water temperatures, 96 degrees, the target's 160. Okay, so we definitely don't have enough heat because the boiler plant is running at 126 degrees. We're targeting 170. So why isn't the boiler coming on? We should be looking for 170, we're setting 126. Are we getting a call for a boiler or not, right? So those values are available for you to look at and see what's going on in your hydronic system in your light commercial building. Now, this is still not BAS. This is just us serving up these pages to you guys, both on an app or the browser. And then there's also the hydronic system graphing. So there's all the data there available for you too on the graphing for the hydronic side. So the boiler loop temperature, the mixed loop temperature, the valve position, the outdoor air temperature, all the data points are there for you. And you can export them into your Excel spreadsheet or whatever you want to use to manipulate the data if you need to. So that's really kind of nice to have, especially looking back, especially when you get customers complaining and you can say, let's take a look at what actually is going on, right? And from there you can determine, going back here, we had a scenario where we were calling for heat. We were targeting 127, but the boiler plant's only producing 126. What's going on with the boiler? The call is there, but we getting no heat out of it. We need to do some service on the boiler, for example. Snow melting. Now let's talk about commercial snow melting because that's the season we're heading into, guys, gals. We're seeing that coming at us now already. One of our reps out of Montreal, Quebec, this job was done out of Montreal. It's snow melted. There's snow ice sensors in the slab. I don't have a picture of that particular slab snow ice sensor location, but you can see here, middle winter. Okay, there's two ways to deal with the snow. You're going to push and shovel it. You're going to put tractors or little tractors out there and push it, and then maybe haul it away if you have to, and you can melt it. So when the snow was basically present on those slabs, we picked it up, we turned on the slab, brought the heat out to the slabs, and then from there, we will melt that snow until the slab is dry. So we're going to watch the evaporation rate off the slab, and when our snow ice sensor says there's no more moisture on our sensor, it's equivalent to the slab itself, to the surface, and turn it off. So we don't want to waste the heat. So this is a really important aspect, like I said earlier, about snow melting systems and being able to turn them off at the right time, not to waste energy. In the last while, when we were working on, we want to talk about the other side of it, the BAS side. So those are the larger buildings, maybe Class A or Class B buildings, where you actually want to do snow melting around your entranceways, your rampways, your stairwells, or whatever you have there. But you already have a BAS system there, and you may already have a heat source there. So we give you, we just brought this product out. It's an interface called the Snow Ice Interface 681. It ties to your BACnet system. It doesn't matter which BACnet system you have in there, whether it's Johnson Controls, Siemens, Honeywell, Delta, Tekmar, whatever you have out there, right? We'll basically tie in with that. Any question there? We good? Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, and then we went the right way about it. We've actually had BTL tested. So basically, it's fully guaranteed to operate the way it's meant to operate. And also that means that the control contractors, the mechanical contractors that will install this equipment know that when they bring it into the BAS system, like I said earlier, it doesn't matter which one, that basically you're going to get it to operate properly for you. And let's take a look at that and what it looks like. These are the pieces that you need to make this work. So the snow ice sensor, this is the 090. It actually mounts into the slab. You can see these rings here. So what we do with the snow ice sensor is that we will maintain that sensor above freezing temperature all the time. So when the snow comes down on a sensor, it's actually going to melt. And when it melts, we see conductivity across the rings. We'd say snow has been detected. First thing we do after that is we'll actually turn the snow ice sensor heater off, and we'll maintain the snow ice sensor at the same temperature as the slab. So as the slab comes up to temperature, we're going to start to put heat into the snow ice sensor. So the evaporation rate will be the same on both units. And when we find no more moisture on the rings, we know it's now time to shut the snow ice sensor, the snow melting system off. Okay, that's the typical heart of a snow ice system here. The socket, sometimes people pour the concrete for the snow ice sensors installed. So we go for an aerial and a slab sensor. It's not the best solution set, but at least it's better than not having any control at all. So those are the kind of configurations on snow ice systems. When you tie it into your BAS system, here's the snow ice sensor we were talking about, the 090. That's this one. I'll back up here. This one here, the 090. Tied into there, and we're going to feed a bunch of data points back to the BAS system. Doesn't matter which one, as long as it can talk BACnet to MSTP. They can bring the data points in. We need to know the outdoor air temperature. So basically, we can get the outdoor air temperature from our own input on our controller, or we can get the outdoor air temperature from the BAS system. Doesn't matter which way you go about it. Here we have the mechanical system, the sequencing of the pump, the mixing valve, and the flow switch and the sensors. All of this control strategy here will be done by the BAS control guys, not by us. All we're telling the BAS control guys is, hey, it's time to melt. We tell them what temperature to melt to, and we tell them when it's finished melting, when we say that the slab is dry. So we're feeding information back to the BAS. How the BAS operates the mechanical is based on the sequence of operation that comes from the consultant, the mechanical consultant, or the control contractor, or whoever's involved with setting that system up properly and make it operate. So you can see here, we're moved more into the commercial world, more than the light commercial. This is where we're making the break between non-BAS and BAS system in your building. So anything, let me back up here. So any place you actually have a building right now and you have the desire to install a snow melting system, it can be done. New installations are always easier, of course, because then the snow ice slab, it can go in there and the and all the piping and all the rest. But if you can do retrofit, the only thing it means if it's concrete, you'll have to go in there and basically break up the concrete to put the piping down. Now, what I wanted to show you is I'm going to pop into our website for a second here. So when you go to our website, let's see if I got a browser going here. Let's give me a browser going. Yeah, let's maximize that screen. So let's go reliable, tekmar controls.com. We've had that address for a long time. And with a little bit of luck, it'll take me there. It takes us to the Watts page. And below the Watts page is all the Tekmar products. So those images that you were seeing here are available. When I go to boiler mix, for example, when I click on boiler mix, we'll bring up all the controls that are specified for boiler and mix. Okay, so this is how we put it together. So you can see all the controls and it tells you, the different models. Now, if you don't know which one, what we've done is we have a comparison chart. I'm just backing up right now. So if I go boiler and mixing controls on the comparison chart, it actually gives you the list of what features are in each unit. Number of stages of water, the boiler type, multi-stage or not, domestic hot water. So it's a quick guide there, okay? We do have videos available as well. So sometimes when you go to a product, which we just take a look right now, let's type in that 681. And we're working on doing more videos, especially how-to videos, like short little 1-2 minute how-to video. How do you do this or how do you do that, right? Because a lot of the contractors kind of ask those type of questions where, hey, how do I make this happen? Or how do I set this? So if I come down here, I can see the product and the specifications and all the documentation that goes with it. So we've got application brochures, we've got an interface, the data brochure for the interface, spec sheets for consultants, all that information is there for them. I wanted to show you one more thing before we sort of just back off here a little bit. So if you go into the Watts area under resources, you're going to find something called online training. And with the online training, what we have done is we've generated a tremendous amount of little training units. Okay, so they're typically 1 to 6 minutes to complete. They will ask you a bunch of questions. You go through those courses, and once you get those courses, you get credits. And once you get credits, there'll be products sent to you based on you participating. So if I launch the WattsWorks online website, it's going to take me to a sign-in screen. Now, because I'm a employee of Watts, I've got 2 screens. One's going to say employee, one's going to say not employee, right? You'll get the second screen. If you sign in, you'll get access to all the actual Watts online WattsWorks learning modules that we have, and we have hundreds of them now, right? So if you want to know something about air-cooled boilers, you want to know something about Tekmar mixing valves, or you want to know something about PVI hot water heaters, right? You go into there and you can type in PVI hot water heaters, and all the modules are available for you there. So I think this is a really valuable asset. This is really about what's been happening in the marketplace. With COVID, what we're facing nowadays, how do you still train the people, right? So we've been building tremendously here, and also doing the webinars to get people trained up to be able to work with our products and inform them from that perspective. So guys, that's kind of a high level of what Tekmar's been doing the last little bit in time. I'm hoping that it was helpful. Any questions at this point?
Yeah, there is one question, and I thought maybe what we could do is relate this to some of the higher level functions of say a 284 boiler controller or something like that. And I'll ask the questions, and then I'll give you a little bit of background. And this question is from Kyle, and this is about when we were talking about the example you showed where you weren't getting any heat in your loop, and obviously there was some kind of problem. But if you're not getting the temperatures you need, I assume it would be a number of different issues. how do you troubleshoot to narrow down the issue? And I thought it might be an opportunity for you to talk about some of the upper functionality of a tool set that comes with the newer 284s, where you you have where you can do manual overrides and stuff like that. I don't know that much about it, but because I haven't actually seen one of the newer ones, but or used it myself. But so they have this new troubleshooting thing for the techs or users that comes with the controller suite, and I just wondered if you could talk about that.
Yeah, there's sort of two parts to that, Mark. The first part, the 284, if we're getting a call for heat, let's say we're calling for heat and we're seeing that we're not getting the heat, we can then actually let the building operator know, hey, listen, there's no heat being generated from that boiler. Okay, that's sort of the first goal of it, right? Just to notify, hey, there's something that's not right before you start getting the phone calls, right? You know, phone call, hey, I got no heat, right? Well, already know, because the system had identified that we asked for the boiler to operate, the boiler plant to operate. Coming out in the AHR show in February down in, I think it's in Las Vegas, we are going to release, we're just in the process of releasing a brand new boiler staging group of products. And in there will be a bunch of troubleshooting directives. So not just say there's no heat, but say, we're not seeing this, we're not seeing this, and we're not seeing this. Maybe there's a pressure sensor in there, there's a flow sensor in there, whatever else, right?
So you're giving visual cues on the controller.
Be working properly.
Okay.
Okay. So it's the next generation of controllers that we're working on right now, and we will be introducing them into the marketplace in 2022. Okay. And you'll be seeing that. Also, we had a lot of feedback in the marketplace. A lot of markets are now asking for reporting on CO2 and energy consumption. And also, we're going to be doing a lot more work in that area for you guys, so that you can take that data and actually report it out properly without having to do a whole bunch of work, because we've got control of those boiler plants. We know what's going on. We know how much energy, all the rest, right? And also, the other thing with I mentioned earlier to you guys, your boiler plants, how often in your boiler plant do you have all the same boilers in there? I would think typically more of a mix and match, because you're not changing them all at once, right? So our strategy is to service those building operators, property management groups, where their boiler plants are a mixed technology of products installed, right? So we're taking that to heart, and that's our strategy of moving forward into that retrofit market, where we think there's a huge need to report out properly, both troubleshooting wise, energy wise, and many other ways of reporting, right? So we're working on that aspect right now, Mark, and hopefully we'll have that. We're going to do a soft launch in January, I think it is, down in Ashray. We'll have the units ready, and we're looking probably, hopefully mid-March, April, May, June, somewhere in there for the launch of that product. There's a lot of technology coming out for us.
Also with boiler control, from what I understand, you can control two different types of boilers off the same controller. You could have a condensing boiler and a conventional pool heater, a super hot kind of thing. Where maybe they've replaced one of those boilers with a newer boiler, and then you've got a mix of technologies in the boiler room, and with your newer controllers now, you can control both families of boilers effectively.
Yeah, you're right, Mark. Because our controllers are configurable, so you actually set the operating parameters. You don't program them per se like BAS systems. But in our new generation, and I'll confirm that, but I believe I'm on track here, is each boiler that you actually put into the system, you'll identify to us what type of boiler.
It kind of looks like it did.
Well, he'll be back in a minute. We can ask him. I know that was part of the gateway suite of options there. So that was a 486 gateway that,
Yeah,
and I've never used one myself, so I can't really speak to it. Anyway, that to kind of, do you remember when what he was saying? There's two different things. Like there's an integration path to a BAS system that you can do with tekmar now, and that's either through Modbus or BACnet IP, or they have this 46 gateway, which is, there's no BAS, there's no nothing, and so this gateway, you can either use an app or a browser, like their app or a browser, and then it gives you access to the data. Your question is, how do you upload the templates of floor plans and stuff like that to build it?
yeah, exactly. And so oftentimes what happens, most of the boilers, if you take something that is fairly simple, like a super hot boiler, well, there's got no smarts to it. But if you have a volcano or a Dietrich boiler with a burner in it, those things have their own smarts. So all you're doing is controlling set points and run times. So it's working somewhat off to the side. So
Looks like Eric's back.
it does.
Oh,
Hi guys, sorry about that. I don't know why I went away. I was talking away and then just disappeared. I love technology. It's great when it works. Not so much when it's not working.
Exactly.
that's okay. We were just talking about you. You must feel
Okay.
your ears burning.
Oh, they're pretty hot right now. Oh, they're very hot. Okay,
Well,
sorry.
Les had an excellent question for you, so I'm going to let him ask it.
Okay.
Well, you were showing us, Eric, some of the nice little drawings on your small commercial with no BAS
Yeah.
on it. And so the troubleshooting skills that we would have on that, you were showing some nice drawings on that. How do those drawings come about to the operator? Do he have to field to a tekmar to get those drawings, or is this something that he can really pull off and have that printout for him to observe over periods of time?
The biggest one right now, just based on the series of controllers you actually installed, will actually self-populate those drawings. Okay.
Yeah.
And the second part is, if you need to create your own down the road, we will be able to give you the ability to create your own. Okay. Because there is sometimes where you're building your own system that doesn't sort of follow the atypical tekmar application drawing as you see, right?
Yeah.
So we're allowing, like we've done that, I think, with the floor plates. We're allowing the people to put their own floor plates in. So somewhere down the road, we also will allow the people to put their own mechanical drawing in as well. And usually it's going to be coming from, as built, we hope. Yeah, right? We hope. Okay.
And so does tekmar have support that they could help you if you had let's say you had a small little strip mall with no automatic controller on it, and so they want to just have the technician do some troubleshooting skills. He provides to you a drawing, and then you could just put the points on it so that they could review it if they wanted to do troubleshooting.
That's where we'd like to head, Les.
Yeah.
We're not there right now, but definitely that's where we want to head, right?
Good.
And in the Watts world, we have sort of two worlds. On the app world, we have the Watts Home, and then we have the commercial version of that that will sit over there, okay, on that platform. Because then it's like, okay, it's a solution set. It's not a full BAS system, but yet it's giving you the information that you're looking for, right? Because it's a cost factor, right? Like, what is that cost factor? And then the nice thing about it, at the end of the day, who's going to service it? The plumbing and heating contractor and mechanical contractor can service it, right? Because they actually installed it, right?
Absolutely. Well, we take a look at most commercial buildings, and we're talking probably 80% of the buildings that we have that are commercial don't have BAS systems on them.
That's yeah.
And it's fairly important that if we bring in a Johnson's person to look after that he can go down and you say, well, I got no heat. Well, he could probably take a look at it, but if he could just link on his computer and pull off a floor plan, he could take a look at where those hot points are, where the sore points are, and do some troubleshooting with relatively ease.
Yeah, and that's the idea, is that, what, even before you go into site, you already got a half idea where the issue lies, right? Just based on what those graphics and data points are telling you, right? Everything looks good up to the mixing valve, and things don't seem to work anything past the mixing valve. I suspect there's probably something going on with the mixing valve. Maybe the actuators, the coupler's broken, or who knows what, right? Could be anything.
And do your small standalone controllers, do they have memory on it so that you could say, okay, give me a log for the last 24 hours? Is there a kind of could I say, I want all my points run, whether it be analog or digital, for the last 24 hours? Can those be imported on there as well?
The newer generation have
Yeah.
most of that built in. The older generation does not. So it depends on, it's what are you looking for and how far you want to go with it, right? So it's kind of your choice when you look at it, right?
Yeah.
Some people want a very low cost solution set that's very straightforward, easy to use, and that's it, right? So we offer that. And then some people want more of the data sets and stuff like that, then we can offer that as well.
Yeah, it's always nice to know what happened at midnight when nobody's around.
Exactly. Or 3 o'clock in the morning, because nobody sees it at 3 o'clock in the morning when it does some crazy early start routine that you never even knew about, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's going to save energy.
Yeah. Good.
So I was pleasantly interested in your comment about energy consumption information, being able to pull that out of the controller. So I'm assuming that you would have supply water temperature sensors and stuff like that you're using to do that. You can tell. And, just like we do in the BAS world. But anyway, you've got a way of crunching some numbers and spitting out kilowatt consumption or something like that, right?
Absolutely, and that's the push in the industry, right? We're seeing that, for example, New York City, right? They're going to that extreme where every building that's generating CO2 gases, they're going to have to report it out on a semi-annual basis, right? So we're looking at the aspects of those heat sources. How do we determine how much energy they're consuming? How do we measure that energy, and how to report it out, right? In what time frames?
So that's a huge step. So I'm impressed with that.
Yep. Especially, property managers are, where am I going with that one? You got multiple buildings, right? How are you managing those multiple buildings, right? That's the question, right? These organizations that like Sask Housing, let's pick on them for a minute, right? They've got all these buildings all over the place. They're not DDC, they're not BAS, but yet they want to know what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. So they're looking for a solution set. I know that there's controls out there that can do reporting out there for you, but then that's all they do. They can't tell you what's going on in the system because they're not operating the system, right? Mm-hmm. So with us operating the system, then we can also report out properly. So we get both sides of the coin. So you can get the information and the results you're looking for.
Also, you mentioned briefly, believe it or not, heat pumps are getting more and more popular in Alberta, even though sometimes I wonder why. But geothermal is now come a long ways from when it did like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Some of the nightmares that I remember, but now you've come out with a product suite tailored to that, which is interesting.
Yeah, the one controller that we use, the one thermostat, we call it the Invita, the 564. It's got dual heat, right? So you can set the balance point, so you know when to turn one system on and bring the other system, turn one system off and bring the other system on, right? Because heat pumps are only good to a certain temperature, and that's it. I don't care what anybody says, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you can't meet the requirements when the temperatures get too low, then you bring on your secondary source, whatever that may be, right? That can meet the demand at those lower temperatures. We're seeing that in places like, I know they're doing that in New England. There's a big push in, of course, Vancouver, trying to go green by 2020, whatever the date is, no gas at all world, right? I mean, that's a big leap, right? They're trying, but it's a big leap, right? And that means, well, how are you going to do it? What's the infrastructure? You can't just throw everybody on the electric grid, right? Because it's like, well, is the grid set up for that? Question mark, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on. We're seeing it sort of peak here in sort of pockets. You see that in California, and also we see it somewhat in Eastern US a little bit as well, right? But it's I think it's a work in progress. There's some things that are really quite good. You're saying it's geo, right? Water to water, right? From that perspective, what is the technology out there? And the technology is a moving target right now when it comes to heat pumps. And there's a lot of R&D being putting into heat pumps right now. So, they realize that there's an opportunity for them, right? Based on that technology and taking it to the next level.
So your tekmar then is partnering with OEMs to do the control side of some of their products, I take it?
Yeah, let's see OEM. So there's, like I said, there's 3 parts to tekmar. There's the OEM, original equipment manufacturers that we deal with, and we deal with many different companies there, interacting and put things together for them. So yeah, that part of it is part of the equation for sure, Mark.
Got a few minutes here.
Yep.
I'll pepper you with another question, and this might relate to like something like PVI, where you have domestic hot water in a bigger building, where you have a series of tanks, that kind of thing, and it's a lot of them aren't controlled very well at all. They try to do it with aquastats and stuff like that. It's just a nightmare. So is there? I'm assuming there must be a tekmar controller that could be adapted to do that very thing, or unless there is a standalone domestic hot water controller, that might be. I don't know, but anyway, that's one application for and it with condos. That's where that's at.
Yeah.
And a lot of condos, they don't have BAS or anything like that.
No.
It would be perfect for tekmar.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that would be a really good application for your product. So
yeah, when you talk about PVI too, like I said, there's sort of 3 sides to tekmar. The tekmar side that goes into the marketplace that we all know, the OEM, the manufacturers, and I call it the ICO, the intercompany. So when we take a look at intercompany PVI, we could actually be building products for them, right? That are specifically to their needs, right? It won't have the tekmar name on it, but it'll be designed by us, right?
Yeah.
So they tell us their needs, which is good because they're very aware of their needs, right? They're putting these systems in, they see how well they work or they don't work, right? And can you help us, right? So that was kind of a nice fit from the Watts side where we can help that company grow, right?
Yeah, and then on the other side of that same ownership group, Airco, man, oh man, some of their standalone controls were difficult. But anyway, if you could simplify that, by tekmarizing them, I would. That would be a beautiful thing. So it's a win-win for everyone, isn't it?
We talked to them. We talked to Erico, right? So we're back and forth, right? Which is good, right? There's communications, which is good. That's the whole intent, that we can work as a company and work with each other, right? And that's what we're doing. That part of tekmar.
Well, they're good at boilers and not controls.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, eh? Has tekmar ever built a boiler? I don't think so.
So
I can imagine what we would build.
Yeah. But control lots of them. So
yeah.
So
absolutely.
anyway, so there are obviously thousands and thousands and thousands of legacy controllers out there.
Yes.
Just in my neighborhood alone.
Alberta has probably some of the most, as far as the population space concerned, it's probably the most highly tekmarized in North America, believe it or not. I think there was a tremendous amount of training done over the years. And also, and then because of what Alberta is, oil and gas industry and fluid dynamics, I think that really has made a difference there too, right? People understand fluid, right?
So I got to tell you this little story. It's a giggle. So
Okay.
so I'm walking the dog out in the park, and it's kind of a chilly day. It was a few weeks ago, and I got my Tekmar jean jacket on. Anyway, we're going along on the road, and anyway, this guy comes up to me, stops, and he looks at me and looks at the dog, and then he starts talking about tekmar controllers. You know, an hour and
Okay.
a half later,
Yeah.
I got to leave the park. But anyway, it was just kind of it was funny. You know,
That's good.
it was
Yeah.
just, you know, one of those kind of things where you've been using this stuff a lot, and then he must have thought I worked for Tekmar or something. No, I just got the jacket.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome. That's, you know what, that's a nice thing to see actually in here. You know, that's very encouraging, right? Because we deal with a lot of people, right, over the years, and to get some positive feedback is always nice, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll wrap up this webinar. I got a little bit of housekeeping stuff here to do as far as BOA before we lose everyone. But I want to thank you very much for giving us a little insight into some new and old things with Tekmar.
Yeah.
And obviously, sounds like it's still going places, and you've still got the same old group in Vernon. I'm sure there's people that have worked there for many years.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it's good. I'm very pleased to be back working for the organization. I think it's growing strong now, and that's a good sign. Okay.
Well, anyway, I just want to remind our audience then of next month's presentation, which is, and even Eric, you might be interested, who knows, but or maybe not. But anyway, next month's presentation is going to be on November the 9th, which is a Tuesday, and we're going to talk about ventilation during COVID. And I do actually have one question for Eric regarding this. You mentioned CO2 sensors. Are you integrating CO2 sensors with your thermostats now? No?
The move will be to wireless technology and indoor sensing, and whatever method of sensing and what we're going to sensing, those are open-ended at this point, right? But it's out there. It's definitely needed, right? It is definitely needed to understand what's going on in the space, especially as we talked about those non-BAS install jobs, right?
Right.
I want to see what's going on quickly. So, and that's how we do it.
So,
yeah.
It's all about the information, and during COVID, we're looking for any kind of a sense of and using CO2 to try to figure out what the ventilation rate is. Has its problems, but right now it's pretty much all we got.
Exactly.
So anyway, so that'll be thank you, Eric. And I just want to remind everyone, all the members that are watching, that your invoices went out in the mail in August, and for your membership dues, and we always look forward to seeing you help us out to keep the lights on. And I'll have to hit Eric up for some advertising in our magazine. You probably haven't even looked at our magazine, have you?
I was on your website. I went through your website.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, on the website, you can download one of our magazines, and so check it out.
I'll do that. Okay, thank you all for your time. Thank you, Monica, Kyle, and Russell, and Les, and Mark. It was good. It was really good. Hope you enjoyed it all. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Hey, Lester.
Thanks, Mark.